Thank you. My name is Robert Smith, pastor here in the city.
Pastor, how are you?
Doing well. We had the opportunity of having lunch with you years ago with Governor Huckabee. And I'm wondering, in that you are a conservative and you are the chairman of the National Republican Committee, and I do operate in urban America, how do you get, or how do you convince morally conservative, Sunday morning going to meeting persons to vote his spiritual values on Tuesdays, election days?
Well, that's a good question. The only thing you can really do is present candidates that they want to vote for, present the issues in a way that they see themselves reflected in the solutions in a good way, not in a negative way. And when I was a county chairman, when I was a state chairman in Maryland, I never took the approach that I had to convince you to vote for me. You know, I had to spend all this time and say, you got to vote for me because the other guy is so bad. That's not a winning argument. The way you win the argument is by producing, by engaging, by conversing, taking the shots when they're deserved, standing up on principle when required, and letting people see your leadership. I know I've been in a number of churches across the country, particularly in the black community, and I tell you, there's some Sunday mornings when I've been visiting that I'm thinking I'm at a Republican rally on certain issues, because there is that tenet, that sense of moral conviction and sense of the importance of that. I've always been very careful, though, in not trying to take the political posture and overlay it on the moral. That's not my job. My job is not to tell you how to live your life. I thought about that job at once. That's why I was in the seminary, and that's why I wanted to be a priest. But I've had a different job now where my responsibilities are to take the issues that affect your community, that affect you personally, whether in your business or whatever, and try to bring about policies that reflect the values of the community in which we live. That's a consensus or an agreed upon value, regardless of the issue. I think where political parties get into trouble oftentimes is when they come in with the heavy hand to tell you how to live your life, or what you're doing wrong. And that's not what people want to hear. I have a saying that goes, look, I actually got it from a young brother who's in Baltimore who said to me, he said, look, I like what you guys have to say on Monday, but I don't need all that other stuff. I get that on Sunday. And I appreciate where he's coming from. What he's saying to me is, there's some things that I can work with you on, I want you to work with me on, but I'll take care of the rest. And I think we have to understand that. And, I don't want to come in and do your job as a pastor, at bottom line. But what I should be cognizant of are the values, the morals, the principles that you talk about, that you preach about, and how that is reflective of the community, and that needs to be also reflected in the policies that our candidates and our elected officials try to implement, from housing to the environment, to education, healthcare, and the like. And that oftentimes gets muddied to the point where citizens, if they're not confused, they're just angered by it. And the idea of listening falls away. And so they just put up their hand, I don't want to hear anything. And so what I try to do is get us to the point where people continue to listen. That's my goal, is to get you to listen. Because at the end of the day, when you get in the voting booth, you're going to vote however you want to vote. But I want to at least be in the running, right up to the last minute, as much as possible, with my candidates and with my ideas about how to solve some of our problems, without coming off so heavy as to turn you off before you even get into the voting booth.